All right, let's talk vacation plans. You're scrolling through travel sites, you're bored of the beach, the mountains are just pointy rocks. You think to yourself, hey, what about space? A little interplanetary getaway. Fantastic idea, except for one tiny detail. It is a monumentally, catastrophically bad idea. And today, we're going on a little tour to see exactly why you should cancel that rocket ticket and just go to Florida instead. First stop, Mercury, the closest planet to the sun. So you pack your shorts, your sunglasses, your factor a million sunscreen. You're expecting a nice, consistent tan. Wrong. Mercury is the universe's moodiest thermostat. During the day, it's a blistering 430 degrees Celsius. Your spaceship would melt, you would melt, your sunscreen would boil. But wait, just stick around for the night. Because Mercury has basically no atmosphere to hold on to that heat, the temperature plummets to a delightful minus 180 Celsius. You'd go from being a puddle to a human popsicle in just a few hours. And by a few hours, I mean a few months, because one Mercury day lasts about half a year. Your best bet is to land in the Terminator zone, the little strip between day and night. It sounds like a cool action movie, but it's more like a very brief window where you don't immediately burst into flames or shatter into a million frozen pieces. So Mercury's out. Okay, fine. What about our next-door neighbor, Venus? It's close, only a 4-month trip. It's about the same size as Earth, same gravity. This one's gotta be good, right? As you approach, you see these beautiful, majestic, swirling yellow clouds. How serene! Except those clouds are made of sulfuric acid. You know, the stuff that dissolves car batteries and, oh yeah, human lungs. But let's say you've got a supersuit that can handle it. You start your descent. The first thing you'll notice is that you can't see anything. The atmosphere, made mostly of carbon dioxide, is so thick it's like flying through pea soup. Then the heat hits you. A cozy 450 degrees Celsius. That's hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the sun. Why? Because that thick, soupy atmosphere creates a runaway greenhouse effect that makes a summer in Texas feel like a polar vacation. And if the heat and acid rain weren't enough, there's the pressure. The atmospheric pressure on the surface of Venus is 92 times that of Earth. Stepping onto Venus wouldn't be like stepping onto a planet. It would be like being at the bottom of the ocean. Your fancy suit would crumple like a soda can, and you'd be simultaneously crushed, melted, and dissolved. So Venus is a hard pass. Feeling a bit discouraged? Don't worry, there's always Mars, the red planet, the one everyone wants to colonize. This is our best shot, right? And to be fair, the daytime temperature can be a pleasant 20 degrees Celsius. You could almost walk around in a t-shirt. If you didn't need to breathe, that is. The atmosphere is super thin and 95% carbon dioxide. But the real fun starts at night when temperatures drop to minus 143 Celsius. Also, that thin atmosphere means you're getting blasted with about 50 times the radiation you get on Earth. Oh, and did I mention the dust storms? We're not talking a little bit of sand in your eyes. We're talking planet-engulfing storms with winds up to 100 kilometers per hour that can last for weeks. So Mars is less of a new home and more of a radioactive, freezing desert with occasional apocalyptic weather. Still better than Venus, though. All right, let's leave the rocky planets behind and head to the big boys. First up, Jupiter, the king, the big kahuna. Now, landing on Jupiter is a bit of a misnomer because there's nothing to actually land on. It's a gas giant. The question isn't how you land, it's how long you fall before you cease to exist. Even 300,000 kilometers away, the radiation would cook you inside your suit like a microwave burrito. But let's pretend you have a lead-lined supersuit. You start your fall. Jupiter's gravity is 2.5 times Earth's, so you are falling fast. You'll plunge through the first layer of clouds made of frozen ammonia crystals at a brisk minus 150 Celsius, all while being tossed around by 500 km/h winds. Fun! As you fall deeper, it gets darker, hotter, and the pressure builds. Eventually, you'd reach a layer where the gas becomes a supercritical fluid. It's not a liquid, it's not a gas, it's just weird, and you're swimming in it. Go even deeper, and you'll hit a layer of liquid metallic hydrogen. And if by some miracle you get through that, you might reach the core. We don't even know if it's solid, but we do know it's about 24,000 degrees Celsius, which is roughly 4.5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. So yeah, Jupiter is a one-way trip to oblivion. Next up, Saturn, the one with the pretty rings. Except those rings aren't pretty up close. They're a high-speed cosmic minefield of ice, rock, and debris from old moons having a bad breakup. If you somehow dodge all that, you get to the planet itself. And what do you find? Winds blowing at 1,800 kilometers per hour. That's not a breeze, that's nature trying to sandblast you out of existence. If you try to enter from the North Pole, you'll run into a permanent hurricane so massive you could fit 2 Earths inside it. The rest of the trip is a lot like Jupiter's, falling through layers of gas, getting crushed by pressure, and eventually being vaporized by a molten core that's twice as hot as the sun's surface. So yeah, Jupiter is a one-way trip to oblivion. Next up, Saturn, the one with the pretty rings. Except those rings aren't pretty up close. They're a high-speed cosmic minefield of ice, rock, and debris from old moons having a bad breakup. If you somehow dodge all that, you get to the planet itself. And what do you find? Winds blowing at 1,800 kilometers per hour. That's not a breeze, that's nature trying to sandblast you out of existence. If you try to enter from the North Pole, you'll run into a permanent hurricane so massive you could fit 2 Earths inside it. The rest of the trip is a lot like Jupiter's, falling through layers of gas, getting crushed by pressure, and eventually being vaporized by a molten core that's twice as hot as the sun's surface. At least the view was nice on the way in. Okay, let's visit the weirdos on the edge of the solar system. Uranus. Yes, get your jokes out now. Done? Good. Uranus is the lazy teenager of the solar system. It spins on its side. It's also the coldest planet, dropping to a mind-numbing -220 Celsius. As you descend through its toxic atmosphere, you'll get pelted by ice pellets. But then something magical happens. The pressure gets so intense that it breaks down methane molecules, and it starts to rain diamonds. Literal diamonds. How amazing! Except they're being driven by 900-kilometer-per-hour winds, and the pressure is about to turn you into a human pancake. So you'd be crushed to death in the middle of the universe's most extravagant and deadly jewelry storm. And finally, we have Neptune. It's basically Uranus's twin, but on hard mode. It's the farthest planet, so it's incredibly dark and cold on the outside, but its core is actually hotter than the sun's surface. It also has the diamond rain, but here's the kicker. Neptune has the fastest winds in the entire solar system, reaching supersonic speeds. That's right, the wind on Neptune is literally faster than the speed of sound. You wouldn't just be blown away, you'd be ripped apart by a sonic boom made of air. So there you have it, a grand tour of 8 places you will instantly and creatively regret visiting. From boiling and freezing on Mercury to being crushed, dissolved, irradiated, vaporized, and pelted with diamonds, space is actively trying to kill you. Suddenly, that trip to Florida doesn't sound so bad, does it? If you enjoyed this little trip through cosmic despair, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments which astronomical body you want to see me virtually die on next.